Hey, hi guys. Thank you so much for rejoining me. If you were here earlier for part one, you witnessed my abrupt departure. Had nothing to do with the reading. Um, I did see someone's comment right before I came live right now from the first video. First off, this is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, also for your cross watchers. So I did see someone's comment right before I went live just now, and they were talking about they felt something rumbling from deep within. I've definitely been experiencing that over the past couple of days, at least over the past couple of days. And I'm realizing a lot of the things that's going on. My departure had nothing to do with twin flames, twin rays, any of that. It has a lot to do with the things that have been very, very difficult for me personally, like within my personal life, to really, take a good look at and allow myself to sift through and see what it is that's going on. And it's definitely been an interesting past couple days. Interesting past couple days because of that. All right. So the message from the previous live was about we need to talk, boo. We need to talk. And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing right now. We're going to be talking. I'm going to bring up the cards again. I didn't put the cards away because there is a specific message that has to do with everyone's journey, so I didn't put the cards away. They're still the same cards from earlier. So again, card number 1, moderation. So I had talked earlier about how Pisces, we have to be very careful about allowing ourselves to swing too far into one end of the spectrum, because that's what Pisces does sometimes. Okay, if you're sad, it's like you have to swing all the way into the part of you that's productive, the part of you that is easy to be around, all of that. And that's okay, but understand that it swings the other way. After a certain point, it'll swing back the other way. So if you're avoiding addressing things that are difficult for one reason or another, eventually you're going to have to address that. But if you allow yourself to stay centered and take in little bits here and there, of the very things that you don't want to address because it's too much, too big, too whatever it is you're telling yourself as a reason why you can't address it. Allow yourself to take little bits at a time. Do everything in moderation, okay? Everything in moderation. And sometimes you have to just take some time out. Card number 32, take time out. Take time out to assess what you're going through. Is the hurt because it's something that you're learning, or is this because you're avoiding? Because if you're avoiding whatever it is you're needing to learn, then that hurt is unnecessary. That avoidance is one of the biggest causes of unnecessary pain. And so if you're constantly having pain that feels unnecessary, it's like, I don't learn anything from this, probably because you're avoiding what you're actually supposed to learn. So it makes the lesson take longer. Card number 37, focus on the light. It's okay. It's okay if there's times where you're so surrounded by really dark, heavy things, thoughts, feelings, whatever it is. It's okay if you need time, like the time out. It's okay if you need time to just focus on the light. Just focus on the good things in life. Focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on the things that make it a little bit easier to breathe. Because when you're dealing with something so dense, so heavy, sometimes it becomes very difficult to breathe, literally and figuratively. And we all know, you have to be able to allow yourself to breathe as you go through these motions, as you go through the lessons, as you go through the experiences that will help to further ripen your inner, under, and overstanding of yourself and your soul. So, card number 21, the Gatherer. I was talking about earlier in the first video, I was talking about how Pisces, we have to be very careful that we don't become the gatherer of the broken, the lost, the wounded. Because really, first off, when we do that, we're robbing the individual of their opportunity to grow, to reach higher levels of understanding. Okay. When you constantly are trying to save someone from their own life lessons, that's what you're doing. You're robbing them of an elevated potentiality. Okay. Another thing we have to recognize, sometimes what we're gathering, Pisces, are actually reflections of fractals of ourselves that we are having such a hard time to acknowledge needs our attention. Okay. We're not even getting into the realm of healing ourselves. We're still just talking about how we need to acknowledge these parts of ourselves that need us. The wounds of the inner child have been allowed to fester for so long that it's become a critical situation. Okay. So Pisces, you're really needing to speak with yourself for a little bit. You really, really are. You're needing to take some time out from this mission of gathering all the lost people and really begin taking a moment to find yourself. Okay. So there's a lot of purging and cleansing going on. Beauty way, card number 4 being the number of the self. The lotus thrives in muddy waters, murky, muddy waters. All of us are like lotus, Pisces especially. We thrive in that chaos. And it's this thing of like trying to convince ourselves that we should be ashamed that this is our environment. We should be ashamed of this. We should be ashamed of that. We need to feel guilty. We need to feel small. We need to yada, 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 yada. And none of that really grows us. You look at the lotus and it's not ashamed. Okay. It's not ashamed of the environment that it lives in at all, at all. The lotus is able to thrive in that environment, not just thrive, but also help to contribute to creating and maintaining balance within that ecosystem. So right now, Pisces, you're going through a transformation that's helping you to realize you are a lotus in the muddy water. Okay. Without the muddy water, the lotus, it doesn't exactly thrive, does it? All right. Card number 33, Heaven Sent. Messages are coming in. These are very high levels of coding, okay? Pisces, you have a lot of coding coming in particular. All the other zodiacs are also getting in a lot of these light codes, but Pisces, you're getting the bulk of it. The bulk of it because you are tapped into all the other zodiac signs. Being the last, you are tapped into all the other ones. So you definitely have to allow yourself to quiet down and receive these messages. Allow yourself to be replenished by these energies that come in as part of the delivery system for the light codes. Okay. We also have card number 21, Mirrored Souls. There will be people who come into your life who mirror the lessons that you're learning, mirror the aspects of yourself that you're having the most difficult time acknowledging. Okay, be thankful for those people. And those people won't always remain in your journey. Sometimes those people stay for but a moment just so you know that they really do exist. This is not a figment of your imagination. There really is another person who mirrors so much about you in your journey. And I think maybe part of the reason why we come across these types of individuals is to give us a sense of the very real fact that we really aren't alone. We aren't alone in this life. The human brain convinces you that you're alone if the person is not physically there with you. And it doesn't serve you to push everything down, to try and make everything much easier for the people who are witnessing the process of your growth. Growth oftentimes is very messy, very ugly. And there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in that that's so very real and so very raw. And the problem is not in the unconventional beauty of that growth. The problem is in the fact that we as people have allowed ourselves to become programmed to only accept that which is synthetically beautiful. Things that are planned, things that are intentionally designed to lull your other senses, the senses that seek truth, seek depth. And so it's really time for you to allow the things that have been buried deep to rise back up to the surface, to begin being processed. And if you don't do that, what ends up happening is your higher self will bring you down, will suck you down to the very levels, the depths that you need to access in order to begin processing these things that you need to process. Hold on, guys. So, soul is all about efficiency, okay? It's about getting you the messages that you need and getting you to acknowledge the importance of those messages, even if it's like silently within yourself. Soul is all about efficiency. It needs you to acknowledge the importance of these messages that are coming through. And if you're not going to do that, soul will blind you and take you on a spiritual vision quest. And it will force a communication. Okay. And like I said, this is more than just what people think. There are souls that mirror it. And whether you're in physical proximity or not, they mirror your journey. They mirror the lessons that you're supposed to learn. This communication will continue to take place. It will continue to take place, and you can't shut it out. Okay, you can't. This goes beyond our concept of the types of bonds that souls have. Like, you can only have this kind of experience if someone is categorized as your soulmate, as your twin flame, as your twin ray, as, this or that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You have no idea your connections with other souls. You really, really don't. You will be very, very hard pressed to find a human being alive right now that hasn't lived multiple lives before this one. So you have to allow yourself to become adventurous and really, really go on a journey within yourself to see the things that you're needing to see. And within us is really a very murky space. You'll have people who like to put that public image out of they've really got everything together. They've really, really, they've done their internal work. They've ascended. They're awoke. All these other like terms that people use to try and convince other people that they're somehow elevated in consciousness, when in reality, why do you go out of your way to try and prove something to someone? If you've really done the work, why do you need to convince other people? If you're really a good person and you know this, why do you have to try and convince other people? Because that's what Pisces suffers through quite a bit. Okay. Pisces suffers through that quite a bit, where we know the kind of person that we are. We know that we're good people. We know we're very patient. We're very kind. We go out of our way. We go out of our way to try and prove to other people that they should agree with how we see ourselves. And for the Pisces that are unbalanced, You have such a distorted view of who you are. This recognition of your power and the lack of willingness or ability to recognize what that power means, the gravity of that power, the gravity of your gifts. Um, and then we go around and we do things that we know is very toxic because we're trying to convince people that we're toxic, because that's the internal recording that's playing, that I'm a toxic person, and now I'm going to do all the things that it would take for someone else to agree with me so that I can justify my hatred of myself. That a lot of Pisces do that. Okay? Now, I've talked about balanced Pisces, I've talked about unbalanced Pisces. The truth of a Pisces is at some point in your life you will have experienced both aspects, balanced as well as imbalanced. And you need that. You need that in order to come into your totality. If you're going to sit there and think, well, I'm not a toxic Pisces, so I've already no, you're in denial. You're in denial. You have to experience both your light and your dark. And if you think that you can live life without having ever really explored the darkness within yourself, then how do you know what your light means? You're light blind. And until you allow yourself to exist within the shadows, even for a short period, you will not know the depth, the clarity, the textures, the gravity of your light. And you can't really be existing in your totality in that way unless you actually understand what's going on within you. And you don't have to have mastered anything. That's such a lie. You don't have to master anything. You're not in this life to be a master. You're here to experience, to gain further clarity and gravity on certain aspects in such a way where you can't experience it anywhere else because you don't have the density of flesh. You don't have the resistance of the human mind. And it's one of these things where you have to understand, like, okay, say, take for example this card. If you're so fixated on your preconceived notion of what this definition is that you have given to this thing, this word, this concept, this connection, then you fail to grasp the true gravity of what's really being said. Because if I were to just stop and look at this card and be like, oh, well, that's a twin flame card, I have my own opinions about twin flames, and it's all like, this is a bullshit card. But in reality, is it? If I allow myself to exit that box of my preconceived notions of, toxicities of twins and blah, 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 then I can free myself to recognize this is me. This is my rebirth. This is my masculine and my feminine coming together in center, allowing me to rise several levels before my consciousness further expands. This is telling me that I have everything that I need. I have the structure. I have the fluidity. I have the ability to be both sweet and sting. And it's okay, because now I'm existing in my totality. I have my solar, I have my lunar, I have my yin, and I have my yang, positive and negative. I am my own closed circuit. And so if you allow yourself to just stop at what you think it is, instead of allowing yourself to go forward, further explore, further further dig into things that you think you've already figured out, you're not going to grow to the level that you can. You're not going to reach the highest levels of potentiality. And that's okay. If you're not ready for that, that's okay too. But now is the time for you to become aware there's so much more than what you think there is. Okay? Angels and demons are one and the same. What were the demons? What's another word for demon? Fallen angel. Angel is an angel, right? It's like tiger shark and bull shark. Both sharks. Same difference. Same difference. They come from the same. They definitely come from the same. Let me get... Where it is. Let me get some other cards. Michael, you can do that on my website, emmieevolving.com. Wow, everything's in reverse. The world is upside down. All right. So temperance in reverse, discord, conflict of interest, hostility, inability to work with others. I'm wondering if this is because of our own refusal to accept all of our parts. When we say others, is this something that is this pointing to how we see these aspects of ourselves as external from us? Every person that you come across is reflecting something back at you, something from within yourself. And, it's not always that, okay, you're in front of a toxic person who has a really bad attitude and it's because you're a toxic person with a bad attitude. No, sometimes it could be that this is reflecting back at you where you used to be, how you used to behave, how you used to interact with other people. And now you're needing a reminder of how far you've come. Because maybe you're not giving yourself enough credit. Maybe you are getting down on yourself about not having gotten as far in your journey as someone else. Well, this is not a race and this is not a competition. This is definitely something that is internal and very, very personal to each person. It is a very unique experience for each individual. Okay, I'm told to put the definitions away. So 10 of Wands. It's time for you to release that heavy burden, okay? So as a Piscean, and even if you're not, if this resonates, then this message is for you. But if you have all of these very long sticks, whatever the hell you want to call them, branches, whatever, wooden stuff, you can either keep carrying them around or you can use them as part of the foundation for a structure you're building for yourself. There's really a message where it's time for you to build your own sanctuary within yourself. Pisces, you have to stop, really, really just stop looking at other people when you need comfort, waiting for someone else to comfort you, waiting for someone else to save you from your own hurt. The fact is, you're hurting so badly because you are avoiding the things you need to address within yourself. And I just heard someone, well, then what do I need to address? That's the whole problem. That's the whole problem. You are waiting for someone else to tell you what you need to address. And what if that person is wrong? What if that person tells you, you go to someone and what do I need to address? Well, you have a spiritual wound on your left knee and it's rotting away. So it's going to affect your physical knee. You won't be able to walk if you don't address this. Okay, so now you're focused on your left knee. Well, what if it's their left, your right? So now you're focusing on the wrong knee. See what I mean? Yeah, they got it right, but maybe there was a communication. Or what if they have an issue with seeing and hearing and their messages come in distorted? What if they have a parasitic influence? There's so many factors. You have to stop relying on other people. And for those who are like, well, then why do you do these videos? Because once you get the messages from your higher self, you then look for confirmation. And that's all these videos are supposed to be. Confirmation of internal guidance you've already received directly from your higher self. That's what it's supposed to be. That's all it's supposed to be. But if you're going to not do the work because you don't want to deal with yourself, you don't want to admit your part and what happened, what is it? Everyone has their reasons as to why they don't want to deal with the things that they need to deal with inside of them, why they don't want to take a look. I'm not exempt from this. Okay? I'm not exempt. It took me 2 videos to get this message out. Why? Because it took me 11 months. It took me 11 months to stop pretending that my mom's just in California. And I'll go visit her next month when I have time. So there are people that will mirror things for you. There are people that will mirror the things that you need to understand about your life, about your journey, because they've lived through it before you. And that's how they're mirroring it. And when your soul has had enough of you ignoring the things that you need to process, it then brings forth this communication that you just can't ignore. I can be a lot of things. I can be a lot of things. I can be very harsh. I can be very kind. I can be all these things that people want or need me to be for them on their journey. But the fact is still the same. I'm just like every single one of you, going through the same things, issues of avoidance, issues of processing, just a lot of stuff. You're going to struggle through this until you choose to allow yourself to learn. Bottom line. No one else is going to take this hurt from you. No one else is going to be able to carry you through this process. You're going to hurt through this whole thing for as long as you need to, until you allow yourself to learn, until you allow yourself to process. That's just what's going to happen. No one else can save you from your own process. It is an absolute lie. If someone were to tell you, you can do this kind of session, or you know, I could do this and that and this for you. No, they cannot. No, they cannot. I can tell you everything that your soul wants you to know, but until you're willing, you will not know what I'm saying. You won't understand what I'm saying. You'll find reasons why everything I'm saying is just attacking you. I don't really understand. I'm just being judgmental. No, that's not right for you. Well, you know, maybe for this moment, it's not the right message for you because you haven't experienced enough expansion within yourself to understand yet how these messages apply. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe it'll happen in 5 years. You just don't know. You don't know. 5 of Cups. In reverse. So it's this sense that you keep crying over spilled milk, failing to realize this entire time that you're focusing on what's spilled, you're allowing more to continue spilling. You're allowing more of your energy to continue spilling. For what? Why? There's no point in that. The whole fixation on the things that have gone wrong. The only time you really will benefit from fixating on things that have already happened, that have gone wrong, is when you're trying to understand, you're trying to learn, you're opening yourself to receive the messages that were delivered through that circumstance. Hold on, guys. If you don't want to learn whatever it is you need to learn, it'll just circle back around. No one can force you to learn anything you're not wanting to or willing to learn. Nobody. Nobody. Mm. Oh, wow. So, this is just weird. This is weird. All right. So the world card in reverse. You're not going on a trip externally. You need to go on an internal adventure and really begin to get to know yourself. So it was in reverse. But what's crazy is I don't have my glasses on and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like there's this girl. This is her shoulder, that's her face, and her hair is brown. Her hair is dark. And she keeps pushing away this guy who's smiling. Smiling. He's just smiling. He thinks it's funny. But actually, it's a hawk or an eagle. Is that an eagle? I think that's an eagle, a golden eagle, which is crazy because it totally looked like she kept pushing his face. She kept pushing his face. And then it's like her higher self and his higher self are pushing down the arm, like, quit fucking around, fighting. And then for some reason, that looks like a baby lion in the world. Just, I don't know what that means. But this is telling me you have to look deep within yourself at this point. No more external type of distractions. No, I don't. Michael goes, don't you feel better? No, I don't. Hold on, guys. All right. Okay. So this is nice. This is nice. Like, really, it is nice. So card number 10, energy transmission. We've already talked about all these transmissions coming through. Where is it? I don't know where it is. All of these transmissions are coming through and making it possible for you to create a structure, an internal mental and emotional structure that's going to give you a way to rise higher in dimensional consciousness. This energy transfer is very, very important that you allow it to come through. Okay. It's going to come through in different ways for different people. For some people, this is going to be an awareness of another individual, someone that you have a soul bond with. For other people, and that could be like a soulmate, twin flame, whatever you want to call it. For other people, this is going to be delivered through connections that are already existent. Okay. This can be a friend, and soulmates can be friends, family. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic thing. Soulmates are not confined to just romance. Okay. Card number 90, shamanic journey. Cetaceans, whales can go deep, right? They can go very deep in the water. Well, that's what you're needing to do. Dive deep into yourself. Dive very deep into yourself and begin getting the information that you need. Okay. The information you need to begin taking those steps to higher levels of consciousness. This is all about consciousness expansion. We're not just trying to expand remaining in a 3D frame of mind. You're wanting to rise higher at the same time expand. It's the way spirituality and ascension is explained. I really hope you guys don't take this in a way other than the way I intend. But people who teach spirituality, for the most part, they really, really have dumbed things down, and they treat you like they're talking to a toddler. You are not a toddler. You are a spiritual elder. You have lived so many lives, and it's time for someone to begin being very, very honest with you and very upfront with how spirituality actually is. And for anyone who's in the audience right now, it's like, well, what makes you know better? Well, you don't have to believe me. I don't need you to agree or understand or any of that. This is what I know based on what I remember from all the fucking lives that I've lived. Okay? You don't have to listen to me. That's the difference between me and someone who is a spiritual guru. I'm not trying to build an audience. I'm not trying to have a following. If I was, I dress myself up, doll myself up. I spent hella money to have a nice little studio set up. Okay, I've been in my pajamas for like 4 fucking days. My hair is ratted. I don't give a shit. I'm here to give messages because you should be your own guru. And you need to understand structures are being built. Energetic structures are being built to be used as launching pads to send you up and out. This is not just like, oh, I'm awoke. I've done the work. I've done the inner child work. I've done, like, just stop. Just stop. Stop. You're existing in a home for children. If you really, really take that in as your truth, like, no, I'm a star seed and I'm here to save humanity. Okay, toddler boo boo. Playtime's almost over. You're going to need to go back home, okay? Because this is going to a whole nother place. This is going to a whole nother place. This type of process that many people are going through right now, with a lot of questioning, a lot of like, I don't understand what the fuck's going on with humanity, what the fuck is going on within groups, within friendships, marriages, everything. I don't understand what's going on. Then that's fine. That's fine. But humanity is going somewhere else. Humanity, the consciousness is going somewhere else. You can continue to exist in that way if you choose. That's your choice. But I'm not here to continue perpetuating this Barbie world, because that's Barbie pink, y'all. That's Barbie pink. I'm not here to further perpetuate a plastic existence. You're needing some alone time. This doesn't mean isolating yourself, okay? We've experienced enough physical isolation that it's not helping you anymore. It's not. What you need alone time from is all these other people trying to force you to agree with their dogma, forcing you to agree and support and spread what they're wanting to spread. Get real quiet. Allow yourself to really sit there. Is what Emmie's saying resonating with me? I don't think so. Good. If you come to that conclusion, good. I want you to think for yourself. I don't want you to just be like, well, Emmie said. Who gives a shit what Emmie said? This girl hasn't brushed her hair in 4 days. Okay? I told them I've been in my jammies for 4 days.
You haven't?
Yes, this has been the same shirt for 4 days. He don't know, because I'd be like, I still smell like roses. He don't know. He don't need to know. It's okay.
Smell good to me.
I still smell like roses. Okay, anyways. So alone time. Allow yourself to get real quiet within yourself and speak to your higher self. And then when you have questions, when your higher self delivers you these messages and you're like, holy shit, this is blowing my mind. This can't possibly be real. Higher self, give me confirmation. I want you to prove to me. Show me something that will tell me what you just told me is real. Next thing you know, you're going to find yourself on one of my live streams. Holy shit, Emmie. My higher self just told me this yesterday. Well, that's fucking how it's supposed to work. Fucking telephone. Your higher self is just like, hey, girl, I need you to go to live. Okay, go live today, and this is what you're going to talk about. I'm going to make the cards pop out in this way, and you're going to talk about this. And that's what happens. I'm not your guru, you guys. I'm not your guru. Card number 1, Beyond Wisdom. Are you serious right now? I did, but I was in a fragile emotional state when I said for you to do your work here. I'm no longer fragile. Can you please exit? I love you. I'm almost done. Okay. So, beyond wisdom. You have to go beyond the wisdom of humanity and really enter into a state of knowing. Just knowing that you are being divinely guided. You are being very, very powerfully supported by your higher self, by whatever galactic team you have, by whatever spiritual team you have. We all VIP here. You know that, right? You know that, right? We are all VIP here. You didn't come into this life alone. You have your whole little entourage of spiritual beings. You have galactic beings. I mean, none of us are normal, average people. We're just at varying degrees of acceptance of our greatness. Every single last one of us comes from greatness. We're made of greatness, came from greatness, and are returning to that greatness. That's what ascension is. The releasing of the veiling, the layers that have been placed one after the other, after the other, after the other, to try and cover our truth, hide our truth from us. We come from a greatness that permeates every single part of you. It permeates every single part of you. There is no way in hell you are going to convince me that I'm so different from you and I'm great and you're not. Excuse me. I don't think so. We all have different levels and types of greatness, but we all are great. Every single last one of us. So, card number 5, fluidity. Remember what I was talking about? Here it is. Allowing yourself to see beyond what you're being told is the definition, is the meaning. You have a structure. This is an energetic structure that's being placed before you so that you can climb, you can expand, but you have to also remember to remain fluid, okay? You have to allow the fluidity to support the change. Card number 5 being the number of change. And then we have card number 64, devotion to service. Devotion to service. Pisces, many of us came into this life choosing to be born as Pisceans because we are here to serve. Okay, not all Pisceans are here in that capacity, but many of us are. This is why we feel so much more deeply than other people. And you know, the paradigm that we exist within tries to teach others that this heightened sensitivity, this heightened ability to feel, to pull in, process, and feel is some sort of weakness. Oh, you're just too sensitive. Oh, well, you're just too stupid. I'm sorry. Oh, you're just too sensitive. Oh, yeah? Because you don't understand the gravity of that sensitivity? Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Just too sensitive, are we? I beg to differ. Yes, Pisces has a sensitivity about it, but that's for a purpose. Okay? That's for a purpose. It really, truly is. If you look at how certain people behave in this world, their skin has gotten real thick. They say, you know, you need to have a really thick skin in order to make it in this industry, whatever industry they're talking about. That's because they're talking about thickening the layers that prevent you from really accessing your raw truth. That's no good. That's no good. Yes, you can be sensitive. Yes, you can be very, very sensitive. But you also need to remember how to function through that. Okay, you guys witnessed that. with me having to do 2 videos. Uh, I'm a very sensitive person. I go through my own things quietly. But I need to be able to know how to function through that sensitivity, or else the messages don't get delivered. And if I'm here in the capacity of a message delivery gal, how am I doing my job if I'm not delivering the messages? Could you imagine that? Being able to deliver messages, just like a post office worker, and every envelope you touch, you can feel what the message is. You can feel it like it's for you. That can be overwhelming at times, but man, what a gift that is. What a gift that is to be able to experience so many other people's lives by simply being present. And people think Pisces is crazy. You know what? Hey, I would rather be seen as crazy than to give up the gift of being able to live all these different lives all at the same time, just because people come to me and allow me to experience and help carry the pain, the burden that they're experiencing. It's not a bad thing to help other people. It only becomes bad when you use that as a way to avoid your own self-healing. That's what's bad. So Pisces, you're here on so many different levels. Card number 17, pushing the envelope. Ain't that some shit? Yeah, pushing the envelope. There's so many definitions to this, so many meanings. It could be, really pushing your boundaries, consciously choosing to expand your consciousness. And it could also mean, hey, Pisces, you're here to deliver some messages. Okay? You're here to deliver these messages. These are not for you to hold on to. You are never meant to hold on to things and take ownership of other people's mail, take ownership of other people's packages just because you can handle pain really well. That's not yours. When you try and take someone else's pain because you want to help them, do you really want to help them? Do you? Do you recognize that there might be a possibility that you do that? Because there's this part of you that's a highly developed empath, and you can feel the relief that they feel when you do that. So is it really still selfless? I can be very honest. I can be very, very honest. It makes me feel really good to help other people. I really succeeded, went real, real far in the cosmetics industry, fashion industry, because I could do some makeup looks that made people feel real good, real good. From art directors to private clients for their weddings, it made them feel real good, real, real good. So people would be like, "Oh my God, you're such a gift to me." Oh, I don't know about that. I'm becoming like a feel-good junkie. So is it something that I'm doing to help other people, or is it something that satisfies something else within me? So you have to really take a good hard look at yourself, Pisces, and see, why are you doing this? Have you become addicted to what it feels like when you pull in, when you feel their relief? The answer is going to be different for everyone, but you have to be honest with yourself. You don't have to put it on this live stream. You don't have to do any of that. You have to be honest with yourself, though. What is truly the driving factor? What is it? So card number 87, holographic healing. This world is basically holographic. It's a form of holograph. The what? Hold on. Okay. So there's another message. 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. Okay, so I did not notice that. Give me 1 second, please. So the patterning. Two, it's a pair. The pair is needed to manifest another pair. There's two, observing another pair. Through that reunification comes bubbles of change. But I'm being told I missed this detail. So the two are necessary. One is upside down, the other's upwards. Thank you, Marcy. This is the main thing that I'm being told I missed. There's an attempt to destroy the structure that's being built. Because remember, a structure is being built. Again, two. A structure is being built in order to help you to rise up. Something is consciously, actively trying to destroy that structure, to again disrupt a reconnection that's occurring. Okay. And again, the holographic healing. There's Pisces right there. So there's a need to recognize the two again. I don't know what the two means. I don't know if it's has to do with a bonded soul. I'm not sure. But card number 15, I've seen this card numerous times, but this is my first time noticing this. I was told to point this out. So card number 15, courageousness. There is an individual, I'm not sure if it's Pisces or if it's the cross watcher, but they parade themselves as a lion, fierce, bold, a leader. But in reality, inside, they feel very shrunk. They feel like they feel powerless. That's deep. That's deep. So I'm seeing blues with communication. I'm seeing like a rusty color. I think that rusty color is tied in with red of the root chakra, orange of the sacral. This is some sort of, maybe in a previous life you had some sort of romantic connection. Maybe in this life you have some sort of possible romantic connection. And then there's some of that yellow. So it's a very muted personal power. Their personal power has been very muted. In addition to that, in order to get a peachy color like this, you have to dilute it with a lot more white. So it's like the purity of their intent is being mixed. Purity of their love, their connection with you is being mixed with solar, sacral, and root chakra. There's a need to communicate, but that's being overwhelmed by the imbalances in those three bottom chakras. Part of the holographic healing has to do with communication and a recognition of personal power for each of the two components. One of them is not understanding because they're still separated from their solar chakra energy. So this is telling me like there's a lot of communication coming down. Okay. So there's a lot of communication. One is really blocked from their personal power by this need to communicate, but a fear, again, a fear that they won't be perceived as some like courageous, mighty lion. They're feeling quite the opposite of that. And then the other one might be refusing communication because they're already so tapped into their personal power that they're like, F you. Did I really just hit the cards? F you. Yeah, so there's something going on. This is a secondary thing to the Piscean rise. Okay. This is a secondary thing to the Piscean rise, but understand this is a foundational structure that helps the Piscean to rise. This fucking deep. I'm just saying this I'm telling you guys, this is going to a whole nother area of consciousness. This is not the same old like, oh, but that's my twin. Oh, but that's my soulmate. Oh, but that's my mortal enemy. I don't know. Shit. It's going to a whole another level and layer of understanding of what these connections are. I mean, this alone is very deep, and then you pair it with this very deep, and you pair it with all the other references to two. 1090-104. Interesting. 1090-104. And then we get to card number 6. All of this leads to a new paradigm. And look, again, 2. One still upside down, the other reaching higher levels of consciousness. But notice how they're connected in the center. Notice how they're connected in the center. What are you planning to do, bruh? Again. I like the way you work it. No diggity. He's about to box it up. You're just extra giggly today. Let's get you guys your final message. Here we go. So, don't mind the noise. Don't mind the noise. I have a little mouse in the room. Can you just wait like a minute? You're so distracting to me. Your essence is just fabulous. What are you getting now? You guys, if I start throwing things, just know it's out of love. It's out of love. You shouldn't have fed me this morning. It makes me extra feisty. Okay. Let's see. You want someone to look at you like that? What way? Oh, how I was looking at him? That's a combo of like, I really love you, but I so want to choke you sometimes. What's my hubby's sign? He's a Gemini. Gemini. Mother fluffer. You're making me take longer.
I grabbed the wrong one.
I'll give you something to grab.
I already grabbed it.
All right, guys. Ooh-wee. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Let's get your final card. Card number 25. I know, it's an impossible combo. It's an impossible combo. We're literally polar opposites for everything. Like everything. He makes me so mad. But I love it. Okay. Beyond the threshold of fear. Ooh. Enter the lion's jungle. Don't think about getting hurt. Fearful thoughts are phantoms of the mind. No one is harmed in this jungle. Everything is compassion and love. It's your fear holding you back like a bar behind the door. How I celebrate for you. After so long away from home, you are finally returning. Beyond the threshold of fear, you dispense with your doubts, hesitations, cautions, and tentativeness. They are old friends with whom you no longer have anything in common. Goodbye, old friends. I wish you well, you say, while turning your face to the burgeoning light of new and yet ancient world. You are visiting as though for the first time, and yet somehow also remember deep in your sacred heart. Finally, we can sit together in the charming courtyard at home. We shall tell our tales of adventure and laugh, and we'll dance and sing. Eventually, day shall pass into night, and we'll gaze beneath our feet, our mouths agape in awe and minds utterly blank, rendered dumb in sweet submission to beauty as we watch the world spinning on her axis. After so long, you are changing your relationship to fear. No more shall it hold you in its thrall. You are becoming able to observe it, to witness it, even to have compassion rather than resistance. Instead of unconsciously sabotaging your growth and choosing to slumber in darkness, you awaken and delight in the light and sound of your divine being. Push and pull, one step forward and a half step back. So it has been for so long, and you have endured. Yes, you are winning the race, brave one, and fear is left to fizzle out. It was always a far less beautiful firework than your passionate conviction for love anyway. Better to let that than your passionate conviction. Oh, better to let that dazzling firework come to light instead. Much more satisfying. What a spiritual marathon you've been running. Now the end is in sight. You are drinking the sacred waters to replenish you from your journey. The cups are pushed into your hands by encouraging angels as you approach that blessed sash marking the finish line. Your body and soul are on this journey together, and now they are ready for victory. And yes, to rest and recover from the effort. Rest now before a new adventure begins from a completely different state of being. This oracle comes with spiritual guidance for you. You have broken through a barrier, a self imposed barrier of fear, whether it seemed to originate from within your consciousness or from an external set of circumstances that held you back from taking the steps you are now taking or just about to take. These steps may feel strange, new, uncertain, and exciting. Your mind might not have received the memo that fear based existence is no longer in operation for you. It may need a loving, tender, reassuring, and firm update that the relationship you have with fear is now rather different. You are the witness, not the victim. Your consciousness is strong enough to hold it in compassion. Don't collapse under its weight. In fact, it's becoming less and less substantial for you. When it's there, it seems less convincing than when it once appeared to be. Compelling still at times, perhaps, but not anywhere near as powerful as it once was. That power has been claimed by your heart. So give your mind the memo. Get used to the new way and take steps. Test your legs. You'll find them powerful and ready. Get set to fly. Test your wings. Trust is one, daring is the other. You'll find them enthusiastic for flight and ready to learn to ride the currents. Oh shit. There was this, I was writing poetry last night and messages were coming in. I call it poetry, but they're actually transmissions. I don't know if they come from a different life or if an individual is sending them to me in this life. They're transmissions. And one of the transmissions, it was a conversation that I was listening to. One person asked, what did they ask? Why did you leave? And then I heard another person answer, because I love you so much, I wanted you to fly. And I was like, wow, that's deep. That's deep. So when you love something enough, you encourage it to fly, not just with your words, but also with your actions. How could something possibly ever fly if you keep it bound, kept in a gilded cage? If you don't give it the space to spread its wings, how could it ever fly? And how could you ever love something if you know its natural state is flying and you never allow it? So that's like, wow. I was like, oh my God. Truthfully, I've been crying since yesterday for no real reason, just because I don't know why. But yes, so what if it's you that's put yourself in a gilded cage? What if that cage is something of your own creation? You created that for you. What if? What if? And what if it's time for you to simply recognize the door to that cage is open? All you have to do is walk out of it. You have the wings, you have the power, you have everything that you need, you have the guidance. Just because you think you don't know where to fly, what direction to take, does not mean you really don't know. Oftentimes, when we think we don't know something, it's because we're wanting something that's not in alignment to be what it is that we're talking about. But in reality, no. We're talking about something else, and we refuse to accept what that something else is. And so now we're like, oh, well, I don't have all the tools. I don't have the direction. I don't have this and I don't have that, and all of that is a lie. All of that is a lie. So maybe it's time for us to stop lying to ourselves. Stop lying to yourself. Allow yourself to fly. There are those who come across your path for a reason, okay? One reason might be that they simply were brought to you to remind you you have wings. Another reason may be that you had to become aware that they exist and allow them to fly away so you can fly after. That's deep. That's deep. This recognition that sometimes souls will agree for a period of separation so that the other can lose their fear of flying in order to reunite. That's deep. That's very, very deep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being so patient with me and all the stops to the delivery of the messages. I really, really appreciate how patient, compassionate, and supportive you guys always are with me with all the things that all the things that I go through within myself, whether I explain or not. You guys are always just so supportive. Thank you. Thank you. So, one final thing I want to thank you for helping me to find my own wings too. So, time for us to fly, guys. Time for us to fly. I love you. Bye.